I never thought I'd be the guy posting something like this, but here I am. My name's Mike, and I've been with my wife, Lisa, for about 6 years now. Things weren't perfect, but they were okay, at least I thought they were. We had a decent life, shared a house, and I thought I knew her pretty well. She's always been a bit of a bitch, sharp-tongued, quick to dismiss anything she doesn't like, and honestly pretty dismissive of my feelings sometimes. Still, I loved her. Or at least I thought I did. About 6 months ago, we hit a rough patch. I started noticing little things. She was more distant, sometimes staying out late without telling me where she was going. She'd brush off my questions with a sharp comment or just ignore me altogether. I'd catch her texting someone, hide her phone when I came into the room, or find her sneaking glances at her screen with that guilty look. It was subtle, but enough to make me suspicious. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, so I kept quiet, hoping maybe I was imagining things. Then came the real turning point. Last week, I decided to do a little digging. I know, bad move, but I couldn't help myself. I was just tired of feeling like I was losing her, so I snooped through her phone when she was in the shower. That's when I saw the messages. It was her and some guy named Jason. They'd been exchanging flirty texts for months, talking about how much they needed to see each other and what they'd do when they finally met up. My stomach dropped. I felt sick. It was like a punch to the gut. How could she lie so easily, so casually? She always told me she loved me, but here she was planning some secret sex with this guy. I couldn't believe it. The woman I married, the woman I trusted, was cheating on me with some random life coach she hired to help us set mutual goals. Yeah, she hired a fucking life coach, someone to help us get closer, and instead, she was getting closer to this guy Jason. It was so ironic that the whole thing started around that damn vision board workshop she signed us up for. She kept talking about her dreams, her future with me, how she wanted to build something real. Meanwhile, she was secretly planning to leave me for some guy she met through that damn workshop. That's the part that hurts the most, how easily she lied about everything. I confronted her the next day. I couldn't hold it in anymore. I found her sitting on the couch, scrolling through her phone like she didn't have a care in the world. I threw the phone on the table and just blurted out everything I knew. Her face changed instantly. Her bitchy smirk turned into a defensive glare. "What the hell are you talking about, Mike?" she snapped. "You're crazy. There's no one else. You're just paranoid." She lied right to my face like she always did. I showed her the messages, the evidence I'd gathered, and her eyes flickered with a mix of anger and annoyance. "No, you're just paranoid," she said again, crossing her arms. "Jason's just a friend. We're working together on some damn coaching project. You're reading too much into it." I wanted to believe her. Hell, I desperately wanted to believe her. But I knew better. I saw the way she avoided my eyes, the way she stammered. She was lying plain and simple. That prickly part of me wanted to break something, to yell at her, to make her admit everything. But I just stared at her, feeling emptier with each second. It was like my whole world was crumbling and I didn't even know how to stop it. The pain was overwhelming. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and furious all at once. How could she do this? How could she lie so convincingly? I thought I knew her, but I didn't. I thought we had something real, but apparently she'd been planning her escape for months. That's when I started to realize this wasn't just about cheating. It was about her disrespecting everything we had built. She didn't care about my feelings, my trust. None of it mattered to her. She just wanted to keep up her lies, keep the facade going until she was ready to walk away. And I was left standing there, feeling like I'd been punched in the stomach, wondering how I got to this point. I don't have the full plan yet. Honestly, I'm still trying to process everything. But I know I can't just let it go. I need to figure out what's next, what I want, and how to deal with the fact that the woman I loved, the woman I thought was my partner, has been cheating on me with some guy she met through a stupid life coaching session. It's a mess, and I'm just trying to breathe. After the confrontation, everything felt like it was spinning out of control. I couldn't sleep that night. My mind kept replaying her lies, her dismissive smirk, the way she looked at me like I was some annoying bother rather than her husband. I kept thinking about how she had been sneaking around behind my back for months, and how she'd lied so smoothly when I finally caught her. I wanted to believe she was just stressed or maybe having some midlife crisis, but deep down, I knew it was more than that. The worst part was the betrayal. Not just because she cheated, but because she lied about everything. Her intentions, her feelings, her love. She always said she was disconnected, that she felt like we'd lost something. I bought into that, tried to fix it, even signed us up for that stupid vision board workshop she was so obsessed with. She seemed so eager, so enthusiastic about building a future that was supposed to be with me. But it turns out she was secretly planning her escape the whole time. She was setting her sights on this Jason guy, and I was too blind to see it. That morning, I woke up with a pounding headache and a sinking feeling in my gut. I kept asking myself, what now? What do I do when the person I trusted most in the world has been lying to me for so long? I knew I couldn't just sweep it under the rug. I felt this boiling need to get some answers, but I also knew I'd have to be careful. Lisa's a master manipulator. She's bitchy and sharp-tongued, and she's good at twisting things around. I had to plan my next move carefully, or I risk losing everything. I started gathering more evidence. I went through her emails, her social media accounts, anything that might give me more clarity. I also kept an eye on her schedule, watching her patterns. She still acted like she was working late or meeting clients, but now I knew what those really meant. I knew she was with Jason, probably doing more than just talking about coaching or some bullshit future. I was furious at myself for not catching it sooner, but I was also scared shitless about what would happen next. I decided I had to confront her again, but this time with a plan. I wanted her to admit it, to face her lies. I knew she'd deny everything, probably throw some tantrum or try to gaslight me into believing I was crazy. That's her style, bitchy, dismissive, and very good at twisting words. But I was ready. I wanted her to know I wasn't just some naive husband anymore. I was done being played. That evening I asked her to sit down. I was calm on the surface, but inside I was boiling. I looked her in the eyes and told her I knew everything. Her face instantly flickered with annoyance, then defensiveness. "Mike, I don't know what you're talking about," she snapped. "You're overreacting. You always do. You're paranoid." She crossed her arms, trying to act like she was above it all. I threw the phone with the messages on the table and said, "Tell me why I found these. Explain Jason, and tell me what he's doing. Our lives." Her eyes darted away and she started twisting her words. "Jason's just a friend," she said, voice dripping with sarcasm. "We're working on some coaching stuff, that's all. You're making a mountain out of a molehill as usual." I shook my head, feeling the anger bubble inside me. "Come on, Lisa. These messages don't lie. You've been planning this for months, haven't you? You've been sneaking around, lying to my face, pretending everything's fine while you're busy screwing some guy behind my back." Her expression hardened and she snorted. "Stop being so dramatic. You're just jealous because I'm finally doing something for myself. Jason's helping me figure stuff out. It doesn't mean anything," she spat. I wanted to believe her, I really did. But the way she lied so easily, so convincingly, that told me everything I needed to know. She was trying to gaslight me, make me doubt my own instincts. That's her game. She's good at making me feel crazy, at twisting the narrative until I second-guessed myself. But I wasn't going to let her do that anymore. In that moment, I felt a mix of heartbreak and rage. Heartbreak because I still loved her, or at least I thought I did. Rage because she had been playing me for a fool. She'd lied and cheated, and now she was trying to gaslight me into believing I was the problem. I looked at her, and all I could see was the woman who'd been bitchy and dismissive for years, now revealed as someone who didn't give a damn about our marriage. I felt like I was standing at the edge of a cliff, ready to fall, but also knowing I had to make a choice. I didn't say anything more that night. I just got up, grabbed my coat, and left her standing there. I needed space to think, to breathe, to figure out what I wanted to do next. The pain of betrayal was fresh, but I also felt a strange sense of clarity. I knew I couldn't stay with someone who lied so easily, who dismissed my feelings and thought she could get away with everything. It was like I'd been slapped awake from some illusion I'd clung to for years. I wasn't sure what comes next, but I knew I wasn't going to be the fool anymore. The days that followed were the worst of my life. I kept replaying everything, the lies, the sneers, her dismissive attitude. It was like I'd been hit by a truck, but I also felt this cold clarity settling in. I realized that I'd been giving her too much power for too long. I was the one who tried to fix things, tried to make it work, but she kept pushing me away, pushing me aside for Jason. That realization hit hard and it made me furious. How could I have been so blind? How could I have trusted someone who so clearly didn't care? I started talking to a few friends, guys I knew from work, about what I was going through. I needed some perspective, some advice. Most of them told me to just walk away, that she was trash and that I deserved better. But part of me was still clinging to hope. Hope that maybe this was just a phase, that she'd come to her senses. Honestly, deep down, I knew that was wishful thinking. Lisa was bitchy and manipulative, and she had been lying for longer than I wanted to admit. One thing that kept gnawing at me was how she acted when I confronted her. She never apologized. No remorse, no tears, nothing but that bitchy smirk. She doubled down on her lies, insisted she was innocent, and kept dismissing me like I was some annoying fly. Her attitude made me realize she had no respect for me or for what we were supposed to have. It was like I was just some obstacle she had to get past before she could go do whatever she wanted with Jason. I didn't want to be part of her game anymore. I decided I had to do something drastic. I couldn't keep living in this limbo, feeling like I was walking on eggshells all the time. I started packing some of my things, thinking about how to move out. I didn't want to be the guy who just stayed and took her bullshit. I wanted to take control, even if it meant tearing everything apart. I also knew I needed to be careful. Lisa's manipulative, bitchy nature meant she'd probably try to turn this around on me, make me look like the villain. I had to be prepared for her accusations, her lies, her mind games. One night, I sat her down again. I told her I was done with the lies, done with her dismissiveness. I said I wanted her to admit everything, and if she didn't, then I'd be leaving. I knew she'd probably deny everything again, maybe even turn it around to make me look like the crazy one. But I was done playing her game. I was tired of feeling small, of feeling like I was nothing but an afterthought in her life. I told her she could lie all she wanted, but I wasn't staying around to watch her pretend everything was fine. She looked at me, her bitchy smirk back in place, and just sneered. "You're overreacting," she spat. "You're jealous, insecure, and honestly, you're just trying to control me. Jason's just a friend. He's helping me find myself. You're just insecure because I don't need you anymore." Those words hit me like a punch, and I could feel the anger rising again. I wanted to scream at her, call her every name in the book, but I just stood there, silent, feeling like I'd lost all the love I once had for her. The next morning, I finally made the decision. I wasn't going to stay. I called a lawyer, started looking into what it would take to get a divorce. I knew it was going to be messy, especially with her bitchy attitude and manipulative ways. But I also knew I couldn't keep living with this weight on my chest, this betrayal that had cut so deep. I was done accepting her lies, her sneers, her secret sex with Jason. I deserved more. I deserved honesty, respect, and someone who actually cared about me. Looking back now, I realize this was the wake-up call I needed. I shouldn't have ignored the signs, but I did because I loved her, even with all her bitchy, dismissive attitude. I thought we could fix it, but she showed me her true colors. I've learned that you can't change people who don't want to change, and sometimes love isn't enough. I don't know what the future holds, but I know I'm finally taking control of my life again. And honestly, that's the only thing that's keeping me going right now. The process of getting ready to leave was nothing short of a nightmare. I felt like I was walking through a fog of disbelief and anger, trying to piece together what had happened and what I needed to do to move on. I knew Lisa would put up a fight, probably call me every name in the book, and try to twist everything around to make herself look innocent. That bitchy attitude of hers made her dangerous. She's manipulative, sharp-tongued, and not afraid to use those traits to get her way. Still, I was determined to do what was best for me, even if it meant going through hell first. I started packing during the nights when she was out meeting clients or working late, which I now knew was just her excuse to see Jason. I took small things first, some clothes, my old laptop, a few personal items, things I could grab without her catching on. I didn't want her to get suspicious, not yet. I also reached out to a friend who was a lawyer, figuring I'd need legal advice soon. I couldn't believe it was happening. I'd never imagined my marriage would come to this point. All those years, I thought we were building something real, and now I was planning my escape from her bitchy little world. The night I told her I was leaving, she was her usual bitchy self, dismissive, sarcastic, trying to belittle me. "You're overreacting, Mike," she sneered. "You're just jealous because Jason's got a future with me and you're too insecure to see it. You're making this all about you. I don't need your permission to be happy." Her words stung, but I kept my composure. I told her I was done wasting my time, that I'd already called the lawyer and was leaving her behind. She scoffed, rolled her eyes, and said I was making a huge mistake. It was one of those moments where all the anger and frustration just boiled over. I looked her straight in the eyes and said, "You've been lying to me for months. You've been cheating on me with Jason. You never loved me, did you? You only cared about what Jason could do for you, your precious future, your damn vision board. Well, I'm not going to be part of your game anymore." Her face turned a shade of red and she started yelling, calling me all sorts of names: crazy, jealous, insecure. I just walked out, not looking back. I knew I had to get out fast before she could do or say anything worse. The next few days were chaos. I packed up the rest of my things, contacted a moving company, and made arrangements to stay with my brother temporarily. The house felt colder, emptier, like I'd lost a part of myself along with her. I kept thinking about all the times she dismissed my feelings, how she'd lied to my face, and how she'd secretly planned her escape with Jason. The betrayal cut so deep I didn't know if I would ever fully heal from it. Still, I felt a strange sense of relief, like I'd finally taken back some control. I wasn't her puppet anymore. I was going to reclaim my life. One night I sat alone in the house, staring at the empty space where she used to sleep. All my doubts and fears flooded back. Was I making the right decision? Could I ever trust her again? Would she try to manipulate me into staying, or was she already plotting her next move? I didn't have all the answers, but I knew I'd done what I had to do, standing up to her bitchy attitude, her lies, her cheating. I couldn't keep living in that shadow, feeling so betrayed and small. I had to find my own way forward, even if it meant starting over from scratch. Now, I'm in this weird in-between space, angry, hurt, but also a little hopeful. I've realized that love isn't enough to hold a marriage together when there's deception and disrespect. Lisa's bitchy attitude, her manipulative lies, and her secret sex with Jason showed me that. Honestly, I'm still processing everything, and I don't know what the future will bring. But I do know I won't be the same guy who got blindsided by her. I've learned that sometimes you have to lose everything to find out what you're really worth. And right now, I'm trying to rebuild. It's a long road, but I'm taking the first step. The aftermath of leaving her was a whirlwind. I thought I'd feel some kind of relief, but honestly, it's been mostly chaos and a lot of soul-searching. I'd never been through anything like this before, and I didn't really know how to handle it. I was angry at her, hurt beyond words, and in some strange way I felt a little lost, like I'd been blindsided by the woman I thought I knew. The worst part was the constant nagging doubt. Did I do the right thing? Could I have tried harder? Was I just another fool who got played? I spent days trying to piece my life back together. I changed the locks, cut off contact with Lisa, at least for now, and focused on rebuilding my sense of stability. I started going to therapy, not because I thought I needed to fix anything wrong with me, but because I realized I needed support to process what had happened. I also started seeing a divorce lawyer, just to understand my options and how to protect myself legally, especially since Lisa was so manipulative and bitchy. She's the kind of person who'd try to twist the story to make herself look like the victim, and I was already preparing for that. One thing I couldn't ignore was how her attitude hadn't changed much. Even after I left, she kept trying to guilt-trip me, calling me crazy and jealous whenever I brought up the truth. She's extremely bitchy about it, always trying to make me second-guess myself. But I saw right through her. That was her way of controlling the narrative, making herself seem innocent and me the villain. I refused to fall for it. I knew the truth and I was determined to stand my ground. Because I knew she'd try to manipulate the situation, I started documenting everything: text messages, her calls, her attempts to contact me or our friends. I wanted to make sure I had proof if she tried to spin some story to the family or mutual friends. Honestly, That bitchy attitude of hers makes her dangerous. She's good at throwing tantrums, lying, and twisting facts to her advantage. But I learned to keep my guard up. I wasn't going to let her gaslight me anymore. One day, I finally sat down and had a long, honest talk with myself. I realized I was grieving, not just the marriage, but the loss of the woman I thought she was. I'd been blind and I'd trusted her completely. Now, I knew I had to focus on myself. I started rebuilding my confidence, hitting the gym, reconnecting with friends, and rediscovering what makes me happy outside of that toxic relationship. It's not easy, and I still wake up sometimes feeling angry or sad, but I know I'm moving forward even if it's one small step at a time. Looking back, I see how much I overlooked her bitchy, dismissive attitude, how she'd lie and manipulate to get what she wanted. I realize that love isn't enough when someone disrespects you that way. That's the biggest lesson I've learned. You can't fix someone who doesn't want to change, and if they're lying, cheating, and treating you like dirt, it's better to walk away. I don't regret leaving her, even if it hurts, because I deserve someone who respects me, who's honest and real. Honestly, I don't know what's next, but I do know I won't let her or anyone else treat me like I'm some fool anymore. I'm taking control of my life, and that's the best revenge I could ask for. I hope that whoever's reading this, maybe someone going through their own betrayal, knows they're not alone. It hurts, yeah. It's messy and painful and unfair. But you've got to remember your worth. Don't stay in a situation where someone's bitchy attitude and lies are tearing you apart. You deserve better, always. Now, sitting here reflecting on everything, I realize how much I've grown, even if it doesn't feel like it some days. The betrayal cut deep, more than I thought I could handle, and her bitchy attitude, her lies, her manipulations made it worse. But it also forced me to look at myself and see what I was really worth. I've learned that no matter how much you love someone, if they're disrespecting you, cheating on you, and treating you like an afterthought, then love isn't enough to hold everything together. I've come to accept that some people are just toxic, and sometimes walking away is the only way to save yourself. Lisa's constant lies, her dismissiveness, her manipulative behavior taught me to trust my instincts again. I won't let anyone, especially someone I once cared about, diminish my worth. I've started rebuilding my life from scratch, piece by piece. It's not easy, and I still get angry sometimes, but I remind myself that I deserve honesty and respect, not a bitchy partner who's out screwing around. What's most important now is that I focus on myself. I've gone back to doing the things I love, working out, reconnecting with friends, and taking time to heal. I no longer feel like a victim of her lies. I feel like someone who's finally taking control. That's the biggest lesson I could share. Never let someone's bitchy attitude, their lies, or their cheating define you. You are worthy of love and honesty. So, to anyone reading this who might be going through something similar, just remember, your feelings are valid and you don't have to stay in a toxic situation. It hurts like hell to walk away from someone you loved, but sometimes that's the only way to find your peace. Trust your instincts, gather your strength, and never forget your worth. At the end of the day, you're the only one who truly knows what's best for you. Keep fighting for that.